Hello, and welcome to Popcorn News, something to watch while you eat popcorn. Do not try to comprehend it all. Nay, just eat the popcorn. Vote fraud in the Democrat Party primary elections.
Yet more evidence has come to light showing this primary election was stolen from Bernie Sanders. And it's getting to the point where a lot of us are going, how much evidence do you need? It's like we're trying to prove a guy's dead and there's been like a body on the ground for days with no pulse and he stinks and there's like flies and like a medical alert bracelet that just says this guy's gonna die for no reason. And yet still a lot of Americans are like, let's not jump to conclusions. All right, maybe he's inspecting the floors for cracks for several days. Has anyone tried asking him whether he's dead? The latest evidence is a study from a little out-of-the-way community college called Stanford, in which the researchers wanted to see if Hillary Clinton did better in states where it's easier to commit fraud, where there's no paper trail proving who people voted for. And the Stanford researchers found that Hillary Clinton did much better in states where it's easier to commit fraud. Wow! This is me shocked. Hillary does best where there's no paper trail.
Vote fraud in the Democrat Party primary elections.
What I can say to you as a lawyer, I will represent to you as a lawyer. In my opinion, Hillary Clinton has been used for the purpose of scuttling Bernie Sanders' campaign for president. She's being used, but they've been caught. It's obvious. It's just like Bernie Sanders when he talks about the system is rigged. The elections are rigged. The evidence is clear. Everybody's going to see it, and the game is over. Bernie has won, in fact, and he will win officially.
And it doesn't matter who you support for president. You should still want a legitimate and accountable system, because until we have that, we have nothing. We have the meaningless facade of a democracy until we get that.
So the DNC has basically, the chair of the DNC, in my opinion, has to go. She is basically a rotten apple.
Yeah.
And she only has one objective and one objective only, and that's to elect Hillary Queen.
I want to get to the election fraud that you've talked about. You know, we've covered a lot of the lying, the cheating, and the stealing that has gone on in this primary election. Polling places slashed in many states and counties. Hundreds of thousands of votes purged from the rolls in New York alone. That's just New York. There are lawsuits. There are voting machines that seem very sketchy. At the Chicago Board of Elections didn't even seem to care that their voting machines were way off. And the exit polling doesn't seem to match up with the results at all. But you have even more proof of election fraud. Tell me what you found.
So my votes vanished right in front of my eyes. I got it in camera. I got it in photocop and so forth. I should have obtained in New Hampshire 2,400 votes. And at the end of the day, I ended up with a lousy 95.
Where is that done? Is that done in the machines? Is that done by the DNC later? At what point do these votes disappear?
Okay. The votes, the ones that disappear with me, it's after they have been counted by the machine, and you have approximately about 1 minute to be able to take the picture. And at that moment, there's a computer program that kicks in that basically tells you, it's an algorithm that basically tells the computer, Rocky shall not exceed in any city over 7,500 people more than 0.1%. So for
In the Orlando nightclub shooting incident, 49 people were killed at last count. In Syria, ever since the U.S. State Department decided that Bashar Assad must go, 400,000 civilians have died. Now take those two numbers. Orlando, 49. Syria, 400,000. 400,000 dead because the U.S. State Department decided Bashar Assad must go. Take that number, 400,000, divide it by the 49 dead in Orlando, and you get 8,163.27. 8,163, let's round it off. So you got Orlando, 1, and you've got Syria, 8,163. So what are people upset about? Are they upset about 400,000 killed in Syria? No. They're upset about 49 killed in Orlando. Sure, that's bad, but compare it to 400,000 in Syria. And yet, here we have the latest pious pontificating from the local newspaper. Lay the guns down. And there's a sub-headline. Stop the killing. But it's not stop the killing about Syria. It's stop the killing. Well, in this case, it's some local shoot-ups. But it all ties into Orlando. Okay, so you got 49 in Orlando. A few more here in Champaign, Illinois. And that's bad, sure. But people are being all pious about that. But 400,000 dead in Syria? Well, what can you do? And it's like, okay, so Bernie Sanders has had his nomination stolen from him, and it looks like Hillary Clinton will be the nominee. And so there's Hillary Clinton or Donald Trump. And with all the hyperbole from Donald Trump, it's hard to say, well, where is he really at? But Cal Thomas on June 12th, 2016, in the local newspaper, he tried to explain Donald Trump. He met with Trump and tried to figure out, well, where are you really at, Trump? And Trump said, Hillary Clinton is the one who raised her hand for the war in Iraq. And I'm, Donald Trump, the one who has been fighting it from the beginning. So even Donald Trump is a relative peacenik compared to Hillary Clinton. Well, might as well wrap it up, but there was something that Malcolm X said about the chickens coming home to roost.
On November 22, 1963, President John F. Kennedy was assassinated. For the nation, the day after the assassination, Malcolm X made a remark that shocked both his followers and his enemies.
When you send your chickens out in the morning from your barnyard, those chickens will return that evening to your barnyard, not your neighbor's barnyard. I think this is a prime example of the devil's chickens coming back home to roost.
The public was enraged by his apparent irreverence.
The chickens have come home to roost. Rush Limbaugh frequently mocks this statement. He does it like, the chickens have come home to roost. But there was a lot of truth in that, about the chickens came home to roost when John F. Kennedy got assassinated. So Orlando, it's bad, but the chickens have come home to roost.